Hello and welcome to my impressions on Mario Kart 8 Deluxe for the Nintendo Switch. Mario Kart 8 was originally released for the ill-fated Wii U all the way back in 2014, and being one of 3 people in the world that owned that console, I played it back then and came out of the experience a little bit mixed. It's a really good game, having a phenomenal soundtrack, amazing and colourful visuals, a smooth 60 frames per second frame rate on both single player and 2-player split screen, tight and ultra responsive controls, and a really good online service too. The primary issue for me was the lack of any content outside of the standard racing. There's not really any form of single player mode. Sure, you have the Grand Prix mode, but at the end of the day that's just doing the same races on the same tracks that you'd be doing on any other mode anyway. What I want is some kind of fleshed out adventure mode like in Diddy Kong Racing or Crash Team Racing, or at the very least a mission mode like in Mario Kart DS. The whole game felt a little bit empty to me because of the lack of variety featured in it. However, 3 years on, we now have Mario Kart 8 Deluxe on the Switch, and the main addition to the game is a new battle mode, which does somewhat remedy my issue of a lack of different playstyles. But it's the bare minimum they could have done, considering that this battle mode really should have been in the base Wii U game anyway. It is a fun time though, and it features 4 different types of battle that you can partake in. First we have the standard balloon battle, where it's a free-for-all fight in which the winner is the person who manages to pop the most of their opponent's balloons in a set time. Then we have Shine Thief, which is a King of the Hill type mode where you have to grab a crown and hold it for as long as possible, gaining more points the longer you hold it, and the person who reaches a set score, or who has the most points at the end, wins. Then there's Bob-on Blast, which is a mode where every item is replaced by the Bob-on power-up, and the winner is simply the person who hits the most people with bombs in the time limit. And finally we have the only brand new battle style, which is Renegade Roundup. It's basically cops and robbers, with everyone in the match being put into 2 teams, one being the authorities and one being the renegades. The objective for the authorities is to catch the renegades and put them into 2 cages which are placed on the map. If they catch all of the renegades, then they win. The objective for the renegades is to evade the authorities for as long as possible, while also attempting to break the teammates out of cages. Renegade Roundup is definitely my favourite of these battle styles, and it's always really tense and a nice break from the traditional Mario Kart racing. But what else does Mario Kart 8 Deluxe add to the original game? Well, not a lot. If you own the original Mario Kart 8 and you're not interested in the new battle mode, then there's really not any real reason for you to buy this. It's not enough of an upgrade to warrant the price tag, that's for sure. Although, I do have to admit, it is really good being able to play Mario Kart 8 on the go. Like with many Switch games, that's perhaps one of the biggest advantages of owning this version rather than the original version. Even though there's nothing else substantial added to the game, let's go through a couple of the changes that, even though they're minor, are still great to see. First of all, you can now do ultra mini turbos, so by drifting you can reach a 3rd boost level, which gives you a huge advantage if you manage to pull it off. There's also new characters in the form of King Boo, Dry Bones, Bowser Jr., Inkling Boy and Inkling Girl, and also Gold Mario, although Gold Mario is just a skin for Metal Mario. There's also a new Mii costume which you can get by scanning in a Splatoon amiibo, and there's 3 new carts, which are the Splat Buggy, Ink Striker and Koopa Clown. You can now hold 2 items at a time during a race, which makes the action quite a bit more frantic, and it also means that it's actually quite a lot easier to defend yourself while in first position, because it's unlikely you'll get a coin in both item slots. There's 2 new optional additions made to the control scheme, where you can activate both a smart steering and auto accelerate mode. The smart steering makes it a lot harder to fall off of edges, but as a drawback makes it impossible to take certain shortcuts. An auto accelerate makes it so that you don't need to hold the A button to go, but also disables the ultra mini turbo that I mentioned earlier. These are designed for new players and children to get used to the game, acting as sort of bike stabilizers I suppose, and I think it's really great how they're included here. The problem is, they're activated by default, meaning you probably won't know about them when you first start the game, and you'll have to go through a whole process of learning what's going on with the controls and turning them off. What's worse though is when you invite friends over and have to go through a whole process of telling them to input a series of buttons to turn it all off before you can even begin playing properly. For people who don't play games much, this would come across as really alienating because they won't even know why you're telling them to press these buttons, and you have to go through a whole process of explaining what they're turning off and why. It would have been so much easier to have these things deactivated by default. Changes to the online functions are very minimal, but there's still some really positive things here that probably should have been patched into the Wii U version, to be honest. For example, you can now change your character and kart without having to leave an online session, and they've also fixed one of my main complaints with the original Mario Kart 8's online, which was that you couldn't be signed into 2 profiles at the same time when playing online, meaning that only one player was actually improving their online rank at any one time. That isn't the case though on the Switch version, and you can sign into your profile as the second player and it'll retain all of your rank information from your own game. So that's a really good change. Obviously Battle Mode is also playable online too, and the whole online experience is just a joy. There's no messing around, and most of the time it's really easy to just jump in, join a race, and be playing in less than a minute. Really my only other complaints about the game are ones which I had for the original Mario Kart 8 too. The character selection is pretty lacking in my opinion, having a ton of characters which should have just been alternative skins for characters which already exist. For example, Mario, Tanuki Mario, Metal Mario and Gold Mario could really all just be the same character. All of the Koopalings could have just been skins of each other, and I would even go as far as to say that all of the baby characters could have just been skins of each other too. And when you take all of this into consideration, the character roster is actually pretty weak. Looking at all of the characters in the history of the Mario series, there's really no reason for that to be the case either. There's even been a ton of more interesting characters in the previous Mario Kart games, like Wiggler, Honey Queen, Birdo, Diddy Kong, Funky Kong, Paratrooper, Petey Piranha and Rob. But even besides that, there's some absolute classic Mario characters which have literally never been in a Mario Kart game, and some that would be really good additions from the newer games too. Like Kamek, a Hammer Bro, Blooper, Standard Boo, Chain Chomp, Charging Chuck, Boom Boom and Pom Pom, Nabbit, Wart, a Goomba, Coin Coffer, Wingo, Spike, and they could even put a penguin in it from Super Mario 64. Why not? I really do feel like at this point the next Mario Kart needs to pull a Super Smash Bros. Ultimate and have every character from every past game return, have a full-on adventure mode, and have even more tracks than Mario Kart 8 Deluxe from the beginning. Then there's also a ton more that could be done with character skins too. Like Toad could already have Toadette as a skin, but then Captain Toad, Toadsworth and Mummy Me could also be unlocked. Mario could unlock Fiery Mario, Metal Mario, Shadow Mario, Cosmic Mario, Mario 64 Mario, and a ton more. Another thing I really don't like about Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is the fact that you don't have to unlock anything. All of the characters, tracks, and game modes are unlocked from the moment you turn the game on, and the only thing left for you to actually do is unlock the vehicle parts. Which is rewarding in its own right, but it would have been way better to have unlocked all the characters as well as this. This just adds to what I was saying earlier about the game lacking in content, because it almost feels like there's nothing to even do when you first start the game, because it's already all there laid open for you. It's like you've activated an all characters and tracks cheat, but that's actually just what the game's like anyway. It doesn't even display your star rating online like some of the older Mario Kart games did, so it makes it even less worthwhile to go through the hassle of getting 100% on the game, because you can't even show off your star rating to other players. You do unlock Gold Mario and the Gold Kart parts by getting 5,000 coins and by getting a star rating across the 4 speed classes and beating the time trial mode, but this is hardly worth it. The Gold Kart isn't that great and Gold Mario is literally just a skin, so it just generally isn't a very rewarding game to complete. I do think that by getting to certain ranks online you should have unlocked something. Maybe you could unlock the amiibo costumes in the game itself by getting to a high enough rank. That would make it so you're not locked out of content for not buying the figures, but also give players with the figures early access to the costumes. And it would also mean that for people without internet access, there is still a way to unlock everything, albeit a very expensive way. Another slightly annoying aspect of the game is that anyone apart from player 1 is always pushed to the side a bit. For example, I find it silly that only player 1 can navigate menus. If you're alternating whose turn it is to pick a track, player 2 can't just go through them using their own controller and they have to rely on player 1 to do the cycling for them. It's ridiculous. Also, when playing online, the second player doesn't get their own pick for what track they want to play, and instead player 1 just picks for both people. Player 2 also can't use the lobby communication system either. These are all relatively small issues, but it's just stuff that's annoying when you're experiencing it, especially considering how easy this would probably be to fix. It seems like throughout this video I've done nothing but complain, but the only reason I've done that is because I really do love Mario Kart, and despite this being the most definitive game in the entire series to date, I did expect a little bit more from it. I'd like to think that some of the criticisms I had of this will be fixed in Mario Kart 9, but we'll have to wait and see if that's the case or not. It'll be weird when Mario Kart 9 does come out because it'll mark the first time in the series' history that there's been 2 Mario Kart games on the same console. That's an odd thought, isn't it? Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is a really damn good game, and anyone of any skill level will be able to pick it up and have fun. And I think that's really the beauty of it and why it's so beloved. What we have in this little cartridge is mostly all amazing stuff, but I just wish there was more of it. I want more modes, more characters, more karts, more skins, more tracks, and just more to do. And I can't wait to see what the next installment has to offer. Thanks for watching this impressions video. If you enjoyed it, give it a like, leave a comment, and if you want to see more content of mine in the future, then maybe subscribe and click the notification button. What did you think to the improvements Mario Kart 8 Deluxe made to the Wii U version? And what do you want to see from Mario Kart 9? Let me know, and until next time, bye!